What's going on, guys? Apathettic here with all your tips, recommendations, and everything in between. And today I'm bringing you a brand new Warlock PvP build that features the returning exotic handcannon Hawkmoon and the Berserker seasonal mod that allows you to make the Hawkmoon more forgiving weapon and allow us to get our super back within 1 minute. What we're going to start off covering in this video is what you need for this build. So think about the subclass, the mods, the exotics, and of course Hawkmoon, and then from there we're going to discuss how this all works together to help us get our super back as quickly as possible, as well as constantly having up to 36% damage buff for all our weapons to create such a lethal build that has us using our super 3 to 4 times a game and having that damage boost for extended periods of time and constantly hitting 2 taps or even 1 taps. So if you enjoy using your super multiple times per game and destroying everyone with your hand cannon, then this build is for you. For that, I'll briefly mention that I also stream on Twitch, so consider dropping a follow using the link down below if you want to see more gameplay like this live. With that, let's get into it. Getting into what we need for this build, and we're going to start with the subclass, and we're going to be running Middle Tree Stormcaller with this super chaos reach. So this uses a long range channel beam of concentrated arc energy, and this is great for getting those 1 to 2 kills we're going to need to trigger Berserker mod, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It makes it very easy again to get those 1 to 2 kills at the very least, but you'll often find you get a lot more. We also got Ball Lightning, which is a nice melee ability for countering some shotgun rushers or hitting people over their Titan shields. Has a lot of utility, and I hadn't run this subclass in a while. I was actually surprised by how useful this ability is. Pulse Wave as well is another great one here, being critically wounded triggers an energy wave that boosts yours and allies speed, and this is great because it allows you to get out of dodge. As you're going to see when we get to our exotic armor, we're not running transversive steps. I know, but it's actually one of the worst exotics to run with Hawkmoon. It basically cancels out the exotic perk, so we're not going to run transversive steps, but Pulse Wave is going to help us in those situations where we need that extra boost of speed and handling, and it's going to make our movement feel a lot more fluid, and again, get out of dodge in those scenarios where our health is low. And last, we have Ionic Trace, which is great for getting all of our abilities back quicker and forces us to invest less in these other stats and focus more on getting our super energy back as quickly as possible. Moving on to our armor, and we gotta start with the exotic, and that's where we're running Geomag stabilizers. And so when Chaos Reach super energy is almost full, sprinting tops it off. Damaging enemies with Chaos Reach extends its duration. So the main focus of running this exotic piece here is going to be for topping it off, and this is really great because it basically tops off the last fourth of your super by just you sprinting. So you can sprint into a wall or just sprint around in circles if you want to really top off your super, and this piece right here is what's going to allow us to get our super back within 1 minute. Because remember, when we get to the Berserker mod, it's gonna depend on how often we proc our super. So having this, something that allows us to top off our super, get it back a little bit quicker, is going to be instrumental in getting that super kills as much as possible, thus getting that damage buff as much as possible. So moving on, let's go ahead and jump into our class item where we have the Berserker mod. So when your super ends, you gain a temporary bonus to weapon damage. The duration and strength of this bonus increases based on the number of combatants you defeated with your super. So this mod is actually pretty insane for buffing your damage. At 1 stack, you get a 20% damage boost for 15 seconds. At 2 stacks or 2 defeats, you get a 26% damage boost for 25 seconds. At 3 defeats, it actually goes down to 20%. I think it's bugged or something, but you do get the damage boost for additional 35 seconds. So we still get an additional or increase to our duration. At 4 defeats, you're getting 36% damage boost for 45 seconds. So pretty insane, close to 1 minute there. And then with 5 defeats, it's still 36% and kind of caps out after 4 defeats, but your duration can keep going up past 5 defeats. But at 5 defeats, you get 55 seconds. So basically 1 minute of this 36% damage boost. So that is insane and pairs amazingly with this super because you already naturally are going to get Chaos Reach back very quickly, but when you pair it with Geomag stabilizers and the ability to get easily at least 2 kills per super and get that ×2 26% damage buff for 25 seconds, you're already setting yourself up for success in the Crucible. And remember, We're going to talk about Hawkmoon in a second, but this damage boost applies to all your weapons, not just Hawkmoon, not just your shotgun, all of your weapons. So it's very useful. And with this super, I found I was often getting about ×3 or ×4 actually in terms of damage boost. So topping out, getting that 36% damage boost for 45 seconds, which is huge and really is going to help increase the efficiency of all our weapons, but especially a weapon like Hawkmoon. Getting back into the rest of our mods, I'm running double unflinching hand cannon, and I also am running high energy fire here. So for those times where I don't have the berserker mod triggered, I do get that extra damage boost. And I will add that charge with light does not stack with the berserker mod, so keep that in mind. Don't try to, make some special play or kill yourself trying to get these two lined up together. They do not stack together. Moving on to our gloves, I run shotgun dexterity because I'm running a shotgun. This allows me to stow it a little bit faster when I'm switching to my hand cannon. Hand cannon reloader, of course, to make that reload of my Hawkmoon extra crispy. And then I have my helmet, which I have the hand cannon targeting, double hand cannon targeting since only 1 energy cost. And again, taking charge. So picking up those orbs of power gives me charge with light, which triggers high energy fire, which again is for those times where I don't have the berserker mod procced. But as you're gonna see with this build, guys, it's so easy running this build to have the berserker mod procced so often. And again, oftentimes having that ×4 damage boost for 36% damage for 45 seconds, constantly running around, two tapping, 3 tapping people, or just increasing the overall range of your weapons if they have lower range. Which brings me to Hawkmoon. Got Hawkmoon here, and on the base roll, obviously we haven't unlocked some of the random rolls yet, but you have corkscrew rifling, alloy mag, transformative for those random rolls in the future, and smooth grip. But the feature of this, paracausal shot, final blows and precision hits with Hawkmoon grant stacks of paracausal charge. The final round in the magazine deals bonus damage based on the number of stacks. Stowing Hawkmoon in the final round removes this bonus. So something I should mention that kind of ties into what we talked about earlier is how charge with light does not stack with the berserker mod or the damage boost from berserker mod. Paracausal shot does. So what does that mean? It means that when we pair paracausal shot with the berserker mod and that damage boost, you're making it to where you need less stacks of that paracausal shot to make it that much more lethal of a 1-tap or potential 2-tap, depending if you're able to hit a headshot with your second to last round and then trigger that paracausal shot with the damage boost. So it makes Hawkmoon not only a lot more forgiving with paracausal shot, but it makes it a lot more forgiving just in general. Because one of the things you'll notice about Hawkmoon is in comparison to something like an Ace of Spades or some other 120 hand cannons, is it gets outranged rather easily. So having the berserker mod to get that damage boost ×2, ×3, ×4, however high you can get it, is going to make the effective range of this weapon feel even better. You're going to be 3 tapping from farther, and this makes what in my opinion is one of the best feeling hand cannons in the game in Hawkmoon, makes it feel even better with that increased or artificially increased range from the damage boost. So that's one of the reasons I really like pairing Hawkmoon with the berserker mod, is because I get to use one of the best feeling hand cannons in the game and kind of artificially overcome what I feel is one of its weaknesses in its range, on top of making paracausal shot even easier to use and be successful with. And that's one of the big things people have griped about with Hawkmoon, is it's kind of unforgiving, has a low magazine size, the range compared to some other hand cannons is not as good, and you overcome all of those things with this mod. Next, we have Fellwinter's Lies, my shotgun, and this is the best shotgun in the game right now, but again, I know a lot of you don't have it. Hopefully it'll be coming next season based on Bungie's TWAB, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But again, any shotgun will do here, as long as the one you feel most comfortable with. I know a lot of people like the Seraph shotgun, which is another great one as well. It's not going to have the same range, but it is very consistent. And then lastly, I have Commemoration, which is a heavy machine gun, and it's a great replacement for Hammerhead, which was recently sunset. So that is why I choose that one here. So let's go ahead and talk about how this all works together. And we've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but the main thing is using Chaos Reach in tandem with Geomag stabilizers to get your super back as quickly as possible, so we can proc the damage boost from the Berserker mod as quickly as possible, or as often as possible, I should say. This allows us to constantly run around with those stacks from the damage boost up to 4 times 5 damage boost and run around and hit for up to 36% damage. And again, the biggest thing here, guys, is this helps make Hawkmoon feel so much more forgiving. You're able to land those 3 taps from farther away, 2 tap depending on your damage boost, and you need less stacks of the paracausal shot to get those 2 taps or even 1 taps, guys. It makes it so much more forgiving. And I found when using this specific build, I was getting those 2 taps with paracausal shot way more often. In some of these clips you're seeing, these supers I'm getting, or 2 supers you're seeing, are within 1 minute. So in some cases, I'm using 1 super, getting some kills with that damage boost, and then topping it off again and getting another super within 1 minute. There were games where I would get my super 3, 4, maybe even 5 times if I was really slaying out. And the thing is that's nice about using this super or chaos reach is you don't need to go for those crazy 4 or 5 kills every single time. You can just get 1 or 2, cancel out your super, and then that'll leave you about half, and that allows you to top it off and get to that 3/4 even quicker where the topping off begins. So keep that in mind. That's really key with this build to get your super back as quickly as possible, to constantly be cutting off your super. Don't be trying to use the whole thing unless you know you're going to get 5 or 6 kills and they're all right there in front of you lined up. Cut off the super, save half of it, get your damage boost of 2 or 3. That's still going to give you a nice 26 to 20%, 20 to 26% damage increase. Again, helping your Hawkmoon feel more consistent overall and still making your paracausal shot more forgiving and requiring less stacks. And that's what all about. Getting your super, cutting it off, topping it off again, and constantly repeating that cycle and getting that damage boost to further utilize your Hawkmoon at its highest ability. It's a great feeling hand cannon. It does have some shortcomings, but the Berserker mod combined with Chaos Reach and the Geomag stabilizers allows you to completely slay out with this build. I really enjoyed this build. It's a lot of fun, and because you're cutting off the super all the time, you find yourself dying a lot less. I think that's one of the problems with the super I've had in the past. Is you jump in the air, you pop it, and you get shot out of the air. This, cutting it off, you get the 2 kills, you cut it off, and a lot of times you survive and you're in a good spot to take that damage boost and just go crazy. One last thing I'll add is this build I would highly recommend for 6s and modes like trials and things like that. I don't think it would be quite as effective. It would be helpful for creating that 1 pick, but again, the Berserker mod just in general is not going to be as effective in 3v3 environments. It's going to be better for 6s and really stacking up those damage boosts so you can get as much of a damage boost for your Hawkmoon and your other weapons as possible. But as always, if you guys found this build cool or exciting or other ways you think you can improve it, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, as they're all free ways to support me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.